Good morning. At this time, we'll call to order the Board of County Commissioners meeting for Thursday, May 2nd. Would you join with, clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Fast?
Here.
Commissioner Allen?
Here.
Commissioner Klicka?
Here.
Commissioner Hanslick?
Here.
Commissioner Ashcraft?
Here.
Commissioner Brown?
Here.
And Chairman Eilert.
Here. All are present. We do have a quorum. Would you join with me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. For those who are in attendance, if you have a noise-making device, would ask that you turn it off or on silent mode so as not to interfere with our electronic communications as our meetings are streamed online. We do have some special recognition and proclamations this morning, which we'll do so at this time. We have a special proclamation recognizing Older Americans Month. We have several people here this morning, but at this time I'm going to ask Dan Goodman and Karen Weber to join me at the podium. We have individuals both from our area agency commission as well as silver-haired legislators. So I'm going to ask Dan and Karen. I'll present this proclamation to you in recognition of the good work that you all do in supporting our older Americans. And I think it was in 1965 that the Older Americans Act was passed and became law in the United States. So thank you all very much for your good work and leadership in this area.
Thank you, Chairman.
Dan, did you have a comment?
Just a few brief words, and then I'll turn it over to Karen. Thank you, Commissioners. Appreciate your willingness to share this proclamation with us today. Kansas is home to 683,000 persons 60 years and older. 132,000 of them live here in Johnson County. Older persons of this county represent a dramatically growing trend in our county's makeup. Along with that trend is a growing number of individuals providing cares for family members. The opportunities and challenges that lie ahead require us to think differently about health and long-term care so that we can adequately address the needs of current and future generations. Again, I appreciate your attention to vulnerable populations and including the frail elderly in that population. Thank you.
Karen, you are a chair of the Area Agency on Aging, is that right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, Chairman.
thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Eilert, for the proclamation today recognizing Older Americans Month, and also for your continuing support of full funding of Senior Care Act services throughout the years. The Commission on Aging, I'm thrilled to be here representing our Commission on Aging here in Johnson County. I certainly don't do this alone. And we on the Commission on Aging are so pleased that our Johnson County Board of County Commissioners is the great steward of the resources entrusted to it. The recent State of the County luncheon left me, personally, I left confident that I live in the greatest county in the nation. That was a wonderful luncheon that we on the Commission on Aging attended, and we left there. What struck me, a couple of things from our county luncheon, the State of the County luncheon, our libraries and inclusive parks, and the very creative co-first responders was very impressive. There was one slide that really struck me and left a lasting impact, and that was a slide that the county presented showing the exponential growth in older Americans in our county. My recollection is that the slide showed the population number of older adults 10 years ago in 2009 and what that population is today in 2019. And I think it indicated a projected population for 2039. My colleagues at the National Academy of Elder Law Attorneys refers to this as the, quote, gray tsunami. It's coming, it's real, and we all know it. And so we on the Commission on Aging so appreciate our Board of County Commissioners' financial support of aging services. We so appreciate the liaisons that we've had the pleasure of working with, currently Commissioner Haslick. We always appreciated our work with Commissioner Allen and Commissioner Klicka before that. So we appreciate you. We think you're great stewards of the resources here in our county. Indeed, it takes a village to be and remain the best. Collaboration and teamwork is a must, and so is focus and financial dedication. Thank you very much for the proclamation today and your ongoing support over the years, Chairman.
Well, thank you very much. You know, I'm reminded, I think it was Ronald Reagan, when he was running for president, there was a question from the audience about his commitment to Social Security. And he made a comment, something to the extent, "I'm with you on that one." And so as I think about the Older Americans Act, there's some of us in this room, we're with you on that one. So again, thanks to those who work to support programs for our older Americans and specifically Johnson County. We do have and will have, as Karen mentioned, a ever-increasing population of older Johnson Countyans, and that's great. The objective is to make sure that our community is a responsive place for them to live, to continue to fend for themselves, and for those who need help, that we have programs in place to accomplish that. So now, I know there are several people here. We're going to take a photo, so silver-haired legislators and members of the Aging Commission, if you would come up. We'd like to have all of you in the photo. We probably ought to get them this way a little bit, and a couple of lines, double lines, so. I'll get mine. Okay. Yeah, ladies, why don't you come over here? How you doing, Eric? Okay? All right. Thanks always. Appreciate it. Thank you, my friend Dale. Good to see you. Thank you. And next, we have a proclamation recognizing National Correction Employees Week. And I'm going to ask Nanette Rosham, and I hope I didn't mispronounce that name too badly. Nanette, if you would come up. She is one of our correctional employees, and you know, I think too many times our correctional staff does not receive the recognition that they do. Not only are they correctional officers, but they work in many, many ways and many areas for those who are incarcerated in providing assistance, learning, and advice as to how they can live a better life when their sentence is up and they re-enter the community. So on behalf of the Board of County Commissioners, I'm pleased to present this proclamation and note that May 5 through 11 is National Correctional Employees Week, and I know you have something to say.
Great. Thank you so much. Good morning. On behalf of the Johnson County Department of Corrections, I would like to thank Chairman Eilert along with the Board of County Commissioners, for this proclamation and for recognizing the work that we do every day. Again, my name is Nanette Rosas, and I'm a senior case manager with the Johnson County Department of Corrections. I'd just like to take a couple seconds to introduce some of the colleagues who were able to join me here today. I have Angela Paz, senior case manager, Tori Mead, corrections advisor, Shannon Bartels, juvenile intensive supervision officer, Trisha Johnson, youth care correctional advisor, Zach Chandler, supervisor with the Juvenile Detention Center. We also have our directors, Ted Jester with Juvenile Services, Earl Taylor with the Adult Residential Center, Keith Clark with Field Services, and the Director of Corrections, Robert Sullivan. As an organization, we utilize our internal programs such as the Therapeutic Community, Adult Residential Center, the Juvenile Detention Center, and community-based programs to include house arrest in both adult and juvenile intensive supervision probation to ensure the public safety while encouraging positive behavior change. Additionally, in collaboration with various county departments and outside agencies, we provide a continuum of services to the population we serve in the hopes that our clients will become positive contributors to our community. Again, thank you, Chairman, and to the Board of County Commissioners, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. You know, I should note that our correctional facilities and programs receive national recognition through the National Association of Counties for the innovative work and efforts that they carry out every day to make sure, to the fullest extent that they can, that those who leave their supervision remain and become productive citizens of our county. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you so much.
And I'm going to ask Robert Sullivan, who's the director, and others with him, come on up. And we'd like to have everybody in the photo. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it very much. Thank you. And next, I'd like to have Tim DeWeese, who's director of our mental health agency, join me at the podium for a proclamation recognizing National Mental Health Awareness Month. Tim, thank you very much for being here today. As we all are becoming increasingly aware of, the work of our mental health agency and our mental health professionals is so important to many areas of our population, whether youth, whether workers, or whether older members of our population. And so it's with that in mind and the good work, consistently good work, and innovative programs that our mental health agency carries on every day that we issue this proclamation on behalf of the Board of County Commissioners and thank all of those for the good work they do every day.
Super.
Tim, thank you.
Appreciate it. So I wanted to just say thank you this morning and actually introduce two people that will say a few words so you won't have to hear from me today. Shabnam Hishmi, who is a employee of the Mental Health Center, and Lisha, if you guys want to both come up. And Shabnam, I'll let you take it from here.
Good morning. My name is Shabnam Hashemi, and I'm a case manager. Oh, thank you. And I'm a case manager at Johnson County Mental Health Center. First, I'd like to thank you for recognizing Mental Health Awareness Month. Having the opportunity to see someone grow in their recovery process and being with them through that journey is truly an honor and a gift. Please join me in welcoming Leisha as she shares a piece of her recovery story.
Hi, my name is Leisha. I am a voice of PTSD, borderline personality disorder, and anxiety. I'm here today letting you hear a part of my story in hopes it will break down some of the walls of stigma which I myself have had. I first started receiving services with Johnson County Mental Health Center in October of 2012 after a traumatic event in July. It has changed the course of my life in some good ways and some bad. I tried to take the silver lining out of something that was so horrific. I didn't realize the impact that it had until the first day that I called in sick after working at the same job for 3 years. After being off work, I realized I needed to get help. I was not showering, not eating, and not answering the phone. I was secluding myself. When I slept, the dreams would put me back in that situation. There were bouts of not sleeping because I was scared of the dreams. I was very thankful for a friend that knew a little bit about mental health, and she brought me to Johnson County Mental Health. I was numb and afraid and not sure what would happen. Were they going to put me in a hospital? Were they going to lock me up forever? That didn't happen. Johnson County Mental Health set me up with a therapist. After seeing this therapist for a month, they set me up with a temporary case management, Lisa Hollingsworth. With her noticing my symptoms, she realized I needed more long-term services. I was then set up with a case manager, Kevin McGuire, and a therapist, Nate Williams. They helped me to realize that what had happened to me was not my fault, and I started meeting with Kevin in public places instead of my home. There are still times when I hear the question Nate used to ask me, is this helping you or hurting you? This is important because of the shame and blame that I experience. Now I'm working with Shabnam Hashimi, case management, and Kathy Kelly. They are still helping me with my goals and on my recovery path and working with EMDR. As of today, I'm back in nursing, and I have worked at Aberdeen Village here in Olathe for the last 6 years. I am involved in advocacy work related to mental health, domestic violence, care for the elders, and co-lead a PTSD group. I am also helping with a startup group, Reclamation Clubhouse, in Johnson County. It is a community-based membership organized to design support people living with mental illness. Usually open Monday through Friday, morning to evening. Members gain free access to opportunities to rejoin the world of friendships, family, employment, and education, and the services and support they individually need to continue the recovery. Recovery is an option. And you know, recovery, the word, is a little weird to me because I think of alcoholics and drug addiction. But looking at the definition, which is the action or process of regaining possession or control of something stolen or lost, I recognize I'm still in recovery, and I think if we are honest, we are all in recovery in some way. I am thankful that the county is investing in mental health through organizations like Johnson County Mental Health. I'm thankful for my 3 boys, sisters, cousins, Olathe Wesleyan Church, friends, and Johnson County Mental Health for their ongoing support and their ability to assist when needed. I will leave you today with my current mantra, blow the minds who doubt. By that, I mean that I aim for people to say, wow, I never thought she could do that, but I am and I will continue. Thank you.
I think the numbers last year, our mental health agency served over 9,000 individuals who came to them for assistance. And I want to emphasize that that assistance is available. And Tim, can you give a telephone number that they can call or a location that they can, for those who need the service or have questions, please.
So I'm going to have to pull it out because I don't have it right off the top of my head. And Keith takes care of me here. So 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, you can call 913-268-0156. That's 913-268-0156. And it's staffed with mental health professionals, all of the time, and we're there ready to help anyone. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Tim, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Well, thanks again to all of those who were recognized this morning for the outstanding work that you provide on behalf of Johnson County citizens. At this time, we'll turn to the public comment portion of our agenda. If there's anyone present who would like to address the commission on an item which does not later appear on the agenda, would welcome you to the podium, state your name and address, limit your comments to 5 minutes, please.
I'm Sebastian LaPierre, 5235 Round Prairie Street.
My name is Jimmy O'Connell from 3806 West 57th Terrace, Fairway, Kansas.
My name is Ryan Swink. I'm from Northwest 1500 Arrowhead Trail.
We're here, 7th graders from the Pembroke Hill School, for a civics action project, and we have the topic of plastic bag ban.
Young men, let me ask you this. If you could speak closer into the microphone when you're talking, that would be helpful. Thank you.
We are 7th graders from the Pembroke Hill School, and we have a civics action project, and our topic is plastic bag ban.
So in America, 100 million plastic bags are used every year, and the average household uses 5 plastic bags a week. So we found that each bag produces around 33 grams of carbon dioxide, which means in Johnson County alone, 4.25 million 4.25 million pounds of carbon dioxide I put into the air every year just because of plastic bags. And Greenability magazine in 2015 rated Kansas City 5th of cities to be most impacted by climate change in the U.S. So we believe that plastic bags are a huge problem, not only in Johnson County, but in the world. Less than 7% of plastic bags are recycled, and littered plastic bags can cause flooding, endangering the lives of citizens and creatures. In 2015, Ghana experienced heavy rainfall, and their trash, mostly of plastic bags, caused the storm drains to clog, making it almost impossible for the water to escape. Because of this, almost 150 people died. Kansas City and areas around have recently experienced severe flooding. Think how much worse it could have been if our storm drains were not able to function properly. But as Americans, we believe that we can either ban plastic bags or place a tax on them. Many of us have been to cities around the country where plastic bags have had a 5-cent tax or something similar to that. These taxes can go to funds around the city, such as education or some of the many other programs that we talked about today. So thank you for listening to us, and we hope that we can work with you on this issue in the future.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there someone else?
Mr. Chairman,
Excuse me.
I just want to again, excuse me, thank these young men for coming. They had actually reached out to me earlier this week, and I know that they've had some conversations with our solid waste management staff, and so I really appreciate their being here today and thank them for their concern and their advocacy.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Excuse
I'm
me,
just
Ms.
so
Fass.
excited. About a week ago, I said, why don't you come to speak to the commission? And thank you so much. It takes a lot of courage, and I really appreciate your words were very powerful.
Okay. If there's no one else to be heard, that concludes the public comment portion of our agenda. I do have one note. Pursuant to resolution number 025-08, Troy Redding was appointed as the Johnson County Chiefs and Sheriff Association representative to the Criminal Justice Advisory Council through October 2nd, 2020. That concludes notes for the record. We'll turn to the consent agenda.
Item number 1, consider approving the April 11th, 2019 business session minutes. Item number 2, consider appointing Brian Lewinberg as a 6th District Representative to the Northwest Consolidated Zoning Board through January 7th, 2020. Item number 3, consider appointing Dr. William Burke, Jr. as a 3rd District Representative to the Library Board through April 30th, 2021. And item number 4, consider authorizing an exception to competition per Administrative Policies and Procedures 110.180.A16 for the purchase of digital ticketing hardware and software for 54 sheriff's vehicles from Saltus Technologies, LLC, in an amount not to exceed $120,195.
Is there any one of those items a commissioner would like to have considered separately? Is there anyone present who would like to have one of those items considered separately? All right, it is back for the commission. A motion is in order. Mr. Allen.
I'd move for approval of the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded to approve the consent agenda as presented. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Fast.
Aye.
Commissioner Allen.
Aye.
Commissioner Klicka.
Aye.
Commissioner Hanslick.
Aye.
Commissioner Ashcraft.
Yes.
Commissioner Brown.
Aye.
And Chairman Eilert.
Aye. Motion carried. Moving to the action agenda, item number 5.
Request for proposal, RFP 2019-010. Consider authorizing term and supply contracts with Dupree Landscaping, Herms Landscaping, Personal Touch Lawn Service, and Turf Design for groundskeeping services at a cost not to exceed $800,000 for a 1-year term with 4 annual renewals.
Ms. Lyons.
Good morning, Chairman Eilert and Commissioners. Robin Lyons, Purchasing Manager. Well, spring is here, which means grass needs clipped and landscaping maintenance. Hopefully, we're done with snow and ice. The item before you is a consolidated approach for countywide term and supply contracts for mowing, landscaping, ice, and snow removal. These are no obligation contracts. They are as needed services only. We did include facilities and public works in with this new approach, as well as landscaping. Facilities and wastewater previously performed these services in-house and did a cost analysis on this and found that by outsourcing it would be cost neutral. The benefit for doing that for facilities and wastewater was reliability and thoroughness of services performed. Facilities is actually reducing staff by 3 vacant positions and also reducing chemicals and supplies on hand as a result of this contract. The new contracts include 60 sites compared to the old contract of 24 for snowing and landscaping, 41 sites compared to 38 for snow and ice removal. They are 1-year contracts with 4 optional renewals. And I would like to thank staff from wastewater, libraries, facilities, airport, and JCDS for all their work on this. With that, I stand for questions.
Just to clarify and verify, that amount is an up to number, is that right?
That is correct.
Obviously, depending upon the weather conditions during the winter, it may not be needed to spend that amount.
Correct.
Okay. Other questions, Mr. Ashcraft?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sorry, it's the change in the weather, I'm sure. Mr. Chairman, I had an opportunity to visit yesterday with Ms. Lyons and her staff, Mr. Reinhardt and Mr. Thompson, a little bit on this subject. I wanted to commend staff for looking beyond the silos when it came to mowing and bringing these together to look for a more cost-effective approach, and I commend that. The hesitancy I had with this is I did not see an analysis, and Mr. Reinhardt shared with me what Ms. Lyons, excuse me, I'm all choked up, what Ms. Lyons just mentioned. There wasn't anything in the briefing sheet that really showed the cost-benefit comparison to doing this service in-house versus contracting out. And along those lines, after some education, I respect Mr. Reinhardt's perspective. The question I had was, did we talk with the Parks Department, because they have quite a mowing contingent, and see if they were interested in bidding this, as it were, because over 5 years, it's almost $4 million. And I was just wondering, were they consulted? Was there any interest there for them to modify their staff to consider doing this? And I offer that, Mr. Chairman, because I've raised the issue of managed competition. I'm very much for supporting contracting out services, but if we can do it in-house for less, I would hope that we would consider that fully. So that was my question. Was Parks consulted? Were they not interested, not able to? I mean, was there an analysis of that done?
Parks was not a part of this solicitation.
Okay. Other,
Mr. Chairman,
Waters?
We can certainly talk with Parks and Recreation about see if this is something that they could be interested in or might be able to pursue in the future. This is an annually renewed contract, and of course, it's a large contract, so there might be pieces of it that they would be interested in, but we can pursue that.
Mr. Waters, as Mr. Brown sometimes would say, I will keep an eye on that and look forward to your follow-up.
You know,
Is that the term you use? Okay.
Close. Close enough.
Yeah. I'm assuming that there would be additional personnel that would have to be added to Parks in order to have a timely response, not only to their current responsibilities, but to expanded responsibilities. So, other questions?
So is the library involved in this or not? Just
Yes.
as-
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, you said that, but I was looking in the written and didn't see that. Because, okay, Corinth Library is there, and I just had gotten concern from the homeowners association about the lack of upkeep there. Do you know anything, what's going on there?
I have not heard anything on that side.
Mr. Waters, did you have a comment?
Yes, I happened to speak with the manager of facilities with the libraries yesterday morning, and they have had a couple of facilities that their contractor has missed a mowing cycle. I don't know whether it was the rain or whatever, but he was a little worried about that, and looking forward to the action this morning so we can get them locked into a schedule.
Mr. Brown?
Thank you, Chairman. It would be easy to understand how somebody could miss a cycle on mowing right now. I think I and my neighbors have too. Everybody has missed a cycle or two. Question, Ms. Lyons. So we have in-house services that we utilize for this service now, or is some of this already subcontracted out?
Some of it has already been subcontracted out. So libraries, JCDS, and airport all had been on previous contracts for mowing services. We did add landscaping to this because we do have some sites that have more landscaping needs. So we did add that to this contract.
Will the in-house part of this service remain, and is this contract supplemental, or are we getting out of the mowing our own stuff business and contracting for all that service?
I believe facilities still has a couple of sites that they will be maintaining in-house. However, the majority of them are being outsourced.
Okay.
Brad, do you want to speak to that?
Parks will still be doing that.
Yes, I might add a little bit. I'm Brad Reinhardt, Director of Facilities. And so we're, with this new approach, we're assigning specific sites to contracted services. We've had several positions on our in-house grounds crew that we've really struggled to staff over the last year or more. And so this is an opportunity to make sure we have continuity of service at these specific sites. And so we selected sites based on which ones we felt we could maintain the best with our in-house staff and which ones would be suited to go to a contractor. And so we've assigned, I could share more information of which sites are going where, but they're going to be fixed and assigned going forward. I don't know if that answers your question.
So based on your assignment, then will the crew as it exists today remain fully intact and this is supplemental to it, or will that crew be shrunk?
The crew will be shrunk as it's currently structured today. Yeah, we'll have 3 less headcount.
Great. I love this approach.
All right.
Love it.
Mr. Ashcraft?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Follow on, is Public Works, do they have their own mowing crews, or do they contract out, or is that a mix also?
It's right away they mow.
But do they mow it, or do they contract out to mow it?
I believe they do most of it in-house.
They do mostly in-house.
Okay.
If not completely. Yeah, there he is.
It's facilities that moves around Public Works, facilities staff.
But you still mow right away?
Yes, that's completely separate, yes.
Do you contract that out, or do you do it in-house?
It's in-house.
It's in-house. Thank you.
Other questions? All right, is there anybody present
Chairman?
who would?
Excuse
speak?
me.
I'm sorry.
I just wanted to ask a quick question. This list of locations and departments seems pretty comprehensive. Are there any other departments that might, that are not part of this, that might, other than parks, that might also be part of it?
There are no other locations that I'm aware of.
Okay.
The beauty of this being a countywide term and supply is if any are identified, they can jump on and use this contract as well.
Thank you.
Is there anyone present who would like to speak to the commission on this item? If not, it's back before the commission. A motion is in order. Mr. Allen.
I'd authorize, move for approval of the contracts with Dupree Landscaping, Hermes Landscaping, Personal Touch Lawn Service, and Turf Design for groundskeeping services at a cost not to exceed $800,000, RFP 2019-0110.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded to approve the request for proposal as noted and recommended. Any further questions or comments? If not, clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Fast?
Yes.
Commissioner Allen?
Aye.
Commissioner Klicka?
Aye.
Commissioner Hanslick?
Aye.
Commissioner Ashcraft?
Yes.
Commissioner Brown?
Aye.
And Chairman Eilert.
Aye. Motion carried. Next item.
Item number 6, consider authorizing the Mental Health Center to sign a memorandum of understanding with the Gardner-Edgerton Unified School District and add 1 FTE for a proposed co-responder position to provide crisis intervention assistance in an amount not to exceed $52,500 for FY 2019, and authorize the reclassification and transfer of general fund reserves to mental health in the amount of $1,364, and authorize the reclassification of mental health reserves in the amount of $52,500 for FY 2019.
Tanner. Mr. Fortney.
Tanner Fortney, Mental Health. So you're all familiar with our co-responder program that we have with the law enforcement agencies in Johnson County. This would be taking that program to a little bit different level. Right now, we do not have any staff that are embedded within the public school districts here in Johnson County. And so this would be an opportunity for us to partner with the school districts so that we could have a clinical resource in those school districts to follow up with teens and adolescents that would be in need of these type of services. As I mentioned to you last week, number one, this is a pilot program with Gardner-Edgerton. This is not something that has been rolled out to other school districts, and we want to see how this goes. We want to look at the data that we receive. We want to see if we're really getting the outcomes and the impacts that we believe that we will, and if so, after the one-year time period, so probably this time next year, we would be renegotiating this with the school district, and we may be back before you as well to make it more of a permanent, more of a permanent situation. A couple things I would just note on the funding, which I think is really the biggest difference between this and what you see with the other co-responders. Everything that we have that's embedded in law enforcement, those are all pretty much fully funded by the city with the exception of a few minor ancillary items. But in this situation, after discussing this with the school district, they will be funding this position and funding approximately $78,500. As far as the remaining amount of the $104,000, we will be taking some of that out of our Community Mental Health Center contract, which we receive from the state of Kansas every year. We are expecting an increase this year with that. We also will have some fee-for-service revenue, which you can see listed on there, and there will be some mental health reserves in the amount of $6,000 we anticipate. So with all that, that leaves us with a dollar amount of $2,727 for the full 12-month period, $1,364 of which would be needed for the remainder of this year, since the position would start in July. So that's what we're here asking you for, is the position, as well as providing some additional county tax support.
Mr. Fortney, I think this is a great approach to some of the issues that certainly we face in the mental health area. And I'm glad that you emphasized this is a pilot. I was trying to recall the school resource officers that are in place, city by city, is fully paid for by the school districts. Is my memory correct?
That is correct.
And even though the schools are not in session for 12 months a year, the schools pay the full cost. And I want to emphasize that I'm willing to support this pilot because of the positive impact I think we can achieve. But I would leave open the question about direct monetary support from the county. And I would hope that the data would show the importance of this program, and that would be recognized by the school districts. So, Mr. Clicken.
Mr. Chairman, I wholeheartedly agree with you as a former school board member here. The importance of bringing mental health services into the school districts, to me, is extremely, extremely important. And we need to deal with the kids at an earlier level, earlier time point. And when, after comment, I'd be happy to make the motion to push this thing forward, and I hope we can carry this on to the other school districts.
Okay, all right. Mr. Ashcraft?
Ms. Fast.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask a little bit more about the outcomes that you'll be looking at. I too am very supportive of this, and I know other schools, districts want to engage in conversations with us. This helps prevent time in our juvenile detention center. Right now, we have no youth crisis center. So this is preventing that from happening because there is no assessment referral center that we have with RSI. So we're working to prevent these individuals from going to our juvenile detention center. Will those outcomes be looked at? Because I think those are the costs that we're really saving here.
Yeah, and that's a very good question. And first of all, we do have some outcomes that we look at now with our current clients that could be applicable to this. I listed a couple of those in the briefing sheet. However, because this is a new position and the service is being provided in a different way than what we look at with the law enforcement agencies, a lot of times when we're looking at those metrics, not just in terms, certainly we look at the outcomes, but also in terms of ROI and cost, we're able to look at that in terms of diversion to higher levels of care, so the emergency room, jail, those areas. Some of that can be looked at in here as well, but we're actually in the process of developing, working with the clinical staff to develop some additional metrics here that we think would be not only more applicable, but give us better data to be able to use to evaluate the program. So I don't have all of the metrics with you yet, but I can certainly share those with you in more detail once we've gotten to that point.
Mr. Fortney, I assume that during the time period that the county will be paying the clinical professional, that individual would be involved in other mental health agency activities. Is that correct?
Yeah, the plan for that right now is a couple things. One is during the summer months, that position right now, we would keep that position in the schools to continue to do outreach, but there is billing that can occur during that time frame. The other piece to that is that if we find that there's not enough outreach, I don't think that would be the case, but if there's not, or there's issues, we can also bring this person back to the mental health center and work at either our Olathe or our Shawnee offices. And the billing that I added on the projections for the fee-for-service revenue, those are based on the average revenue collections we receive in the summer months from our existing clinical staff. So we think that would be a pretty good estimate of what we bring.
Thank you. Mr. Ashcraft.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I wanted to agree. I think conceptually this makes a lot of sense. And Mr. Fortney, I have come to trust you and Mr. DeWeese and your development and use of analytics so that when the pilot matures and you report back, I'm sure you'll have substantive information that will help us make a long-term decision. The question I posed to Mr. Fortney yesterday, Mr. Chairman, was I was wondering, though, if we had a strategic approach, because while, like I say, conceptually, going into the schools, it makes a lot of sense, there are potentially a number of pressure points, if I can use that term, in the community. And if we have thought strategically, or if the Mental Health Board has discussed in terms of, well, how would this unfold and what's the best approach? Because I think I would argue it would have impacts on not just schools, but hospitals and maybe other programs in cities like code enforcement and fire services and recreation. I mean, I don't know, but I hope that approach is, you're able to flesh that out as you work through this pilot. I don't want to have overreach, but I'm sure there are ways to optimize this effort without being overbearing or cumbersome. And Mr. Fortney offered a good insight to me yesterday, and I look forward to your progress on this.
Other questions or comments? Anyone present who would like to speak to this issue? There's no one to be heard. It's back before the commission. Mr. Brown.
Thank you, Chairman. Just a brief comment. As a commissioner with 3 of our public school districts within my district, this has been a topic of conversation at multiple meetings and multiple venues, in the grocery store, at a restaurant, and at public gatherings. This is important to our constituents and important to my constituents, and I do feel like we have a great responsibility to take care of our children, and especially those in high school. And with the issues that we've had there, I'm fully supportive of this, and I would make a motion to authorize the Mental Health Center to sign a memorandum of understanding with the Gardner-Edgerton Unified School District and add 1 FTE for a proposed co-responder position to provide crisis intervention assistance in an amount not to exceed $52,500 for fiscal year 2019, and authorize the reclassification and transfer of general fund reserves to mental health in the amount of $1,364, and authorize the reclassification of mental health reserves in the amount of $52,500 for fiscal year 2019.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to authorize the memorandum of understanding with Gardner-Edgerton School District in regards to the clinical professional as a co-responder. Any further questions or comments? There being none, clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Fast.
Aye.
Commissioner Allen.
Aye.
Commissioner Klicka.
Aye.
Commissioner Hanslick.
Yes?
Commissioner Ashcraft.
Yes.
Commissioner Brown.
Aye.
And Chairman Eilert.
Aye, motion carried. In a related item, Commissioner Henslick and I were at the Library Foundation breakfast yesterday morning, and I ran into a gentleman from Blue Valley School District who made me aware of a program on ABC. Diane Sawyer has, I don't know whether it's 2020, but it's either tonight or tomorrow night. And she's looked at the impact of social media on families and students. And there is a program in Blue Valley which speaks to that, and I understand that that program will be noted on that production. So for various reasons, you might want to put that on your list and check the time, but I believe it's on ABC. Again, dealing with a larger concept of mental health and social media impact. Ms. Hanslick?
Yes, I believe it's called the SMART program. That the woman, she's a mom of kids who started it here in Johnson County, spoke to the Overland Park Rotary Club a couple weeks ago, and it's astounding to think that it's one of the only programs in the country that is providing education to parents on how to help their children navigate the issues of social media. So I'm so glad you mentioned that. Thank you.
Yeah. Tim, did you have a comment?
Yes, Tim DeWeese, Mental Health Center. It's actually START. START, and it stands for Stand Up and Rethink Technology. So that's the acronym START. It is actually Friday evening at 7 on ABC, and it's a 2-hour special, a Diane Sawyer special. It's called Screen Nation. And START was a big part of this, and fortunately, they invited me to be a part of it. So I'm hoping that I at least have a cameo with Diane Sawyer, but we'll see if I got. I probably ended up on the editing room floor, but we'll see.
Well, thank you very much, and so would encourage those, all of, if you have the time and the opportunity to watch that program. Should be very interesting. Next item.
Item number 7, IFP number 2019-017. Consider authorizing a contract with WCI Incorporated for bridge construction, grading, surfacing, and seeding for Bridge Q.3-7.0, 0.3 miles east of Lackman Road on 159th Street in an amount not to exceed $294,380.40.
Mr. Vos.
Good morning, Jeff Vos with Public Works. This contract is for rehabilitation and safety improvements to a structure on 159th between Lackman and Flum. We followed purchasing policy on this, and WCI was the low bidder, and we are recommending that we move forward with this project.
Questions? Mr. Ashcraft.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I believe this is in my district, and it definitely.
You believe or you know?
Yeah.
I don't believe you know.
I do.
Last year, campaigning, going through the neighborhood, this was one of the areas because evidently there's some flooding and erosion, and I think this will help. So I'm very happy it's on there. But Mr. Chairman, as you know, from time to time, I have reservations when I see so few active bids on a proposal. So I had an opportunity to meet with Mr. Vos yesterday and talk a little bit about this. And this is a perfect example of the value of the engineering estimate. And after talking to Mr. Vos, understanding the thought process, and I'm supportive of this and will vote accordingly, but we've had this discussion about having some kind of third-party review of what the cost is, so when we get bids like this back, or proposals, or cost estimates, or whatever, then I, as a commissioner, can say, okay, does that make sense when there's only 1 or 2 bidders, or proposers, or estimators? So I commend Mr. Vos for doing this. I know you're required by state statute, but I suspect you'd probably do it anyway. So thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Other questions? Is there anyone present who would like to speak to this item? If not, it's back before the commission. A motion be in order. It's your district, Mr. Ashcraft.
I am happy to move to authorize contract with.
Wait a minute. Can we get, I'd like to make sure we televise this one here.
We're okay.
I'd like to make a motion that Steve will click it. No. Authorize a contract with WCI Inc. for bridge construction, grading, surfacing, and seeding for bridge Q.3-7.0, 03 miles east of Lackman Road on 159th Street, an amount not to exceed $394,380.40.
Is that supposed to be 294?
Or 200, thank you.
Okay, you were
I
going to
stand
give
corrected.
Jeff an extra $100,000. I wasn't going to second that.
I was more concerned about the 40 cents, but I appreciate you staying on top of me.
Mr. Chairman, I'll second the motion.
Motion has been made and seconded to authorize the contract as presented.
It's all good for an old man.
Have I asked for public comment on this? Evidently, no one has to drive across the bridge. Okay.
It's stuck in the bridge right now.
It's back before the commission. Are there any other comments or questions? If not, clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Fast.
Yes.
Commissioner Allen.
Aye.
Commissioner Klicka.
Aye.
Commissioner Hanslick.
Aye.
Commissioner Ashcraft.
Yes.
Commissioner Brown?
Aye.
And Chairman Eilert?
Aye, motion carried. Are there any other items to consider?
No, sir.
All right, moving to reports and communications, Ms. Bostoke Ferguson.
Chairman and Commissioners, you have 3 items, and then I want to add one that's probably of particular interest to you all after those 3. So the first is Sunflower Quarry Inspection Report. Planning conducted their regular inspection of the quarry, and everything is in compliance. The attached report is in your packet, and planning staff is here if you have questions on that. The City of Lenexa on April 16th passed an ordinance approving TIF Project Plan 4, generally located at the northwest corner of Britton Street, 99th. The project plan calls for 2 industrial flex buildings totaling 240,000 square feet. And information is in your packet, and more detailed information you've received previously. And then also the City of Lenexa on April 16th passed an ordinance terminating TIF Project Plan Number 2, generally located at the southeast corner of Interstate 35 and 95th Street. And again, that information is attached in your packet. And I'll see if there's questions here before I go into the next topic. Any
Other
questions
questions?
on those 3?
All right, thank you.
Very good. The next topic, I'd like Legal Counsel Don Jarrett to come forward and address you on the issue of the food requirement for breweries.
Mr. Jarrett.
Yes, if it please the board, Don Jarrett, Chief Counsel. Over the past month or so, there have been a number of inquiries related to the requirement for drinking establishments to derive 30% of their revenue from the sale of food, primarily related to microbreweries. There was a request that came to the county about whether or not we could place a question on the ballot asking for the removal of that food requirement. The food requirement itself is a constitutional requirement when we passed the liquor by the drink constitutional amendment, but that constitutional requirement provides that the legislature by statute can provide an option, if you will, for counties to opt out of that food requirement, and the legislature did. Under that statute, the ballot question can either be placed by a petition of citizens or by a resolution of the Board of County Commissioners. The statute then provides that the question will be placed on the next succeeding state general election following more than 90 days after the adoption of the resolution. So the inquiry came to the county about whether or not that option would be available. We were asked to look at what would be the mechanism to do that. In looking at that statute, it was our conclusion that the statute requiring it to be at a state general election meant that the next available election would be in the fall of 2020. We did look at, is there any feasibility for putting it on a ballot in 2019. In looking at that question, we did contact the Secretary of State's office. As you know, they supervise elections. We had discussions with staff there, not related to the 2020 question, but related to were there any options that they could advise us about with respect to 2019. We asked them to provide us an opinion in writing, as is their usual practice. They declined. We understand that. They don't want to be issuing a lot of separate opinions for all of the counties. But we continued having discussions with them on what variable options there may be. It was our conclusion that there are none, that we feel confident coming to you with a legal opinion that says, yes, you can put it in 2019. It is our legal opinion that if you are interested in proceeding with that question, the election would be in 2020. We are willing to continue to look at that question should there be some possible option available to us in 2019. But we are perhaps a little reserved in issuing our legal opinions with respect to elections because of the importance of elections and the fact that we do not want to create a technical issue that might affect the validity of the election. So with that, I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Well, the issue is without proceeding to an election that is supported either by the Secretary of State's office, the AG, or some legislative action, I think we should not run the risk of having an election challenged. And so I did have a conversation with a state representative yesterday who is looking at this issue, and this representative is going to continue to pursue possibilities, perhaps an AG opinion or perhaps some additional opinion out of the Secretary of State's office. But currently, at this point in time, there is no other option than 2020. Ms. Fast?
A number of legislators have talked to the Kansas Secretary of State. They are pursuing AG's opinion, and their opinion is what they've gotten from the Secretary of State's office, that we can go forward this fall. I think we need to get that clarity from the AG's office. Because, I mean, right now, constituents are hearing from the Secretary of State's office that we have that choice. And I think there needs to be some clarity. There's a discrepancy. That's why people are going to the AG's office now, because of that discrepancy.
No, I'm not satisfied with the two different, I would call them opinions, that have come from the Secretary of State's office that are diametrically opposed. So we either need that clarification or certainly an AG's opinion, which would support our decision. You're right. Mr. Ashcraft.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Fast, thank you for the update. I was not aware that this is kind of a moving target, so I appreciate that update. I think the point that Mr. Jarrett made, which is sticking for me, is that we could go ahead and authorize an election this November, but the point that I think Mr. Jarrett was making is he's not comfortable in advising us that we are on solid legal ground. We might be, but he cannot advise us as such. And for that reason, I respect that. I am supportive if we can get a definitive direction from the Attorney General or the Secretary of State or some other body, but it has to be a state official body. All due respect to Mr. Jarrett, he may carry a lot of weight in the state, but he doesn't quite have that title. So with that, I understand. But how do we communicate this to the public? Because I continue to get questions about it, and there is interest, and there are also some concerns that are starting to evolve with this discussion.
Well, I think it's really fairly simple. The information we're sharing this morning is a critical element. If there is authorization from a state agency, or in this case the Attorney General, I'm comfortable with moving forward on that. But if we do not have that authorization based upon legal opinion, then we need to wait till 2020. So that's really, I think, where the decision is focused on at this time.
Well, and fair enough, Mr. Chairman, but how do we, is there a communication venue that we can clarify that to the public? Because we are still getting, or I'm still getting questions, and I'd like to make sure I'm in line with the appropriate expression, not necessarily the legal expression.
Well, if there's a necessity of commissioners wanting some communication from our PIO office that you can share with constituents, I think that's doable. Yeah. So
that would be helpful.
Okay. Mr. Jarrett, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Nothing further, thank you.
Legislative update, Ms. Green.
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. We just have a short report today because they just came back in session yesterday. So I'm going to tell you 3 bills that were signed during their break time by the governor that we've been watching. The first one is House Bill 2031, and this is amending the definition of service-connected for the Kansas Police and Firemen's Retirement System. The next one is House Bill 2084. This amended the Kansas 911 Act. And it ended up at the 90 cents. There was 2 different between the two houses, the numbers, and that's what it came out as and was signed. And then substitute for Senate Bill 130, and this was a combination of 4 election bills, and the 2 that impact the county was that the county election officer may make an attempt to contact voters with advance ballots, and the other one was that allowing counties to make a decision locally if they have a polling, that people can vote at any polling place within their county on election day. There also some action yesterday. The Senate brought up House Bill 2006, which is the Medicaid expansion bill. Unfortunately, the vote was 23-13 to bring it to the floor to even for a discussion. So I understand there's some work behind the scenes that they are not willing to give up. They're going to try some other avenues possibly to still get something passed this year. And then another committee that met yesterday was House Tax, and they are creating a bill that is House Bill 2033, and it's going to possibly have the piece in it about the internet sales tax and the reducing food sales tax. That was in a combination bill that was vetoed by the governor, and so they're pulling those 2 pieces out that there seemed to be agreement between the House and Senate on, are going to try and do something yet again this session. And then we have some other bills that are still pending out there that I've been reporting on, but we're going to wait and do a full report. They think it's going to be a short rest of the session, that they may be done by Saturday. We will see if that really happens, but we were going to be working with our lobbyists to come over and just give you a final report and walk through our top 7 items and other bills that we were watching during the session.
Okay.
So I am available for questions.
All right, thank you. Excuse me, Ms. Hanslick.
Yes, Ms. Green, I just wanted to ask if you could restate or clarify, in regard to the election bill, in regard to the signatures, did the final bill end up saying that the election office may contact people or shall contact people? I'm still kind of confused on that.
Yeah, it ended up as may, and that was important to us because if it said shall, it could have held us up until we reached every person. And that is not always, we don't always have current contact information and such, so that was an important piece that they got changed early on, fortunately, and ended up with the may.
Okay. At some point, it might be interesting to hear from our election commissioner as to how that might impact their current processes during or after the election. So thank you.
All right.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Green. Are there any other reports? If not, we'll turn to commission comments. Ms. Hanslick?
Thank you, Chairman. I just wanted to make a comment in regard to the 30% food requirement. I know that there are a number of business people who have been very patient, and I appreciate that. I've actually had the opportunity to visit some of those businesses and certainly can understand their desire to move this ahead. So I appreciate the Commission's concern about it, and hopefully we can get some resolution here soon for these business owners, because it's a big impact on what they do. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Nothing, Chairman, thank you.
Mr. Allen?
No comments.
Mr. Ashcraft?
Yes, Mr. Allen. Mr. Chairman, 2 items. Mr. Chairman, first I wanted to share an article on tax incentives, if I could, with the commission and staff.
You should get that map.
Well, that's Mr. Brown's map.
Oh,
but,
we can't share.
We can share, it's in my office, feel free.
This article talks about tax incentives, and I wanted to encourage staff to include that in their discussion and in the development of their discussion about exploring economic development assessments on job growth, because one of the points it makes here is that these incentives may create new jobs and other gains result in greater demand, but those gains result in greater demands for government services. And so we should have a full range and understanding of the budget impacts beyond just the sticker cost of incentives. So I wanted to share that with the commission. I think it's a valid point that we should consider. And then finally, Mr. Chairman, I have to confess that I lied to staff this week. I lied to Joe Connor. I lied to our county manager, Penny Postal Ferguson, and I also lied to Debbie Naster, our assistant, or at least it was an artful dodge, because they asked me the status on a change in my family. And Mr. Chairman, I could not find cigars that I was wanting to share with anyone, and they do not make the rolls of Lifesavers anymore. So I have purchased, because I know you have a sweet tooth, some Junior Mints, because I would like to include you in the announcement of my latest addition to my family, my grandson, Milo Vincent Theodore Ashcraft. So if you would share that.
Very good.
I would appreciate it. Pass it, give it to staff. So there will be a few extra up here, and no, Joe, you can only have one.
So what was the lie? That's what I'm confused
Well, they
about.
asked me if the child had been born yet, and I very dutifully, because my son and his wife had not announced it, had to dodge around that. So Debbie Naster stuck it to me hard this morning, and it just like, So anyway, thank you,
Okay.
sir.
Thank you very much. Mr. Clicker.
I can't top that, so I'll
Yeah.
pass.
All right, that's fast.
I just wanted to, this week, the official ribbon cutting for Consolidated District Number 2, new fire station, Mission Road off of, I forgot what, 71st or whatever. It's close to Prairie Village City Hall. On Friday, they're having a thank you luncheon. You can stop by, food truck. It's really a beautiful fire station, and so I just encourage the people of the county to come by and look at it. There's no Dalmatian dogs or fire pole, though. And so anyways, it really shows working together, the county and the city project.
All right, thank you very much. Today is Feed the Need activities, Feed the Need Day out in the courtyard, so there will be plenty of food and activities, so please join in. Also, there will be a Committee of the Whole meeting, which is currently scheduled for 11 a.m. In regards to a transit update, we may have to push that back a few minutes. And at 1:30 today, we'll have a study session in room 202, 204 in regards to receiving the ETC citizen survey results. And then Monday, May 6th, in this room at 8:30 a.m., we'll have a special Board of Commission meetings to review and to discuss the appraisal search firms that we have received proposals from. And with that, we do have a request for an executive session.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
do we have a tour at the library on Friday, and is that something we need to announce?
There is a tour.
Was that
at 1 o'clock.
Was that a closed tour, or is that a
No,
public?
it's for staff, commissioners, et cetera.
Okay, I didn't know if we needed to
No, it's not a
announce
public
that.
tour. The library will officially open on June
Second.
2nd, yeah. So that will be the public open house. Right.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So, Mr. Allen.
We have a short agenda, so approximately start time, Chairman, at 10:50 for the executive session.
That's fine.
Okay.
Let's try 15 minutes.
Okay.
Mr. Jarrett, can we make that work? All right.
I would move the board recess its open meeting and convene an executive session at approximately 10:50 a.m. for a period of 15 minutes for the purpose of receiving the advice of counsel and to preserve attorney-client privilege, and to reconvene an open session in this room at approximately 11:05 a.m. or as soon thereafter as the executive session may end.
Second?
Motion's made and second to approve the request for the executive session. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Fast.
Aye.
Commissioner Allen.
Aye.
Commissioner Clicka.
Aye.
Commissioner Hanslick.
Aye.
Commissioner Ashcraft.
Yes.
Commissioner Brown.
Aye.
And Chairman Eilert.
Aye. Motion carried. We are in recess. We will reconvene very shortly to address the agenda review for next week's business session, so stay close. Thank you all very much. as we're ready.
Joe, did you get one?
At this time, we'll call to order the Board of County Commissioners meeting for the purpose of agenda review for next week's business session. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Fast,
She's in the building. Here she is.
Stay here.
Commissioner Allen,
Here.
Commissioner Click is in the building, Commissioner Hanslick. Here. Commissioner Ashcraft,
Here.
Commissioner Brown,
Here.
and Chairman Eilert.
Here. We do have a quorum. Would the clerk please read the proposed agenda items?
There are no consent items today, so the action items, item number 1, consider approving the April 18th, 2019 business session minutes. Commissioner Brown was absent.
Okay, that was-
Item number 2, consider
Go ahead, you're fine.
Item number 2, consider authorizing a contract with Zoll Medical Corporation for the purchase of 40 cardiac monitor defibrillators, 16 station chargers, and 19 automatic external defibrillators, AEDs, in an amount not to exceed $1,216,857.65, HGAC Contract EE 08-17.
Mr. Davis, MedAct Director.
Paul Davis, Johnson County MedAct. And Commission, MedAct is requesting your approval to purchase 40 cardiac monitors, 16 station chargers, 19 AEDs, not to exceed the amount indicated. This will be used to replace a current equipment that will not be supported starting in 2020. The expenditure will come from funds in our equipment reserve and approved funds for this project from the 2019 CIP budget that was approved for this fiscal year. Any questions?
Questions? Mr. Ashcraft.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Excuse me. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Davis, could you help me understand what HGAC contract EE08-17 is? I didn't see any explanation on that. I'm
Sure.
guessing it's some federal or state agreement.
HGAC is the Houston Galveston area contract, which is a cooperative purchasing agreement, which Johnson County is a part, and the EE 08-17 is the contract within the larger contract, which allows us to buy emergency medical equipment.
And do they competitively bid this, I suppose? and
We did
just-
have a competitive bid. It was an informal bid process because both vendors are part of the HGAC. We did go ahead and have an informal competitive bid, and this vendor had the pricing and the
Okay.
equipment necessary.
Was that explained in the briefing sheet?
I don't, I think we just referred to the HGAC since we're
Right.
purchasing from the contract, but we
Okay.
didn't expressly indicate that there was an informal bid.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Brown.
Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Davis, you said that the equipment becomes obsolete in 2020, no longer be supported.
Yes.
What happens to the old equipment? Is it
Well, the old
trash?
equipment will be traded in. We'll receive a few $1,000s per unit for trade-in value. So we won't be completely zeroed out, but we'll get some value.
So why would the vendor want you to trade in equipment that is going to be obsolete?
Honestly, they want to get that off the streets, out
pulling
of the
it in.
market. They don't want it to be resold. I think they'd like to sell their own.
That makes sense to me. Thank you.
Mr. Clicken.
My question's to you, Robin. If, I'm going to follow up a little bit on Commissioner Ashcraft's, some of the questions. I don't mind piggybacking on other contracts, other contracts that have been publicly bid. But I think we need to know a little bit about that one that we're piggybacking on, like the Houston, to make sure that they in fact did go through a full, at one point, a full bidding process, number one. Number two, I don't mind piggybacking, but when it gets to a price tag of about $1.2 million, it just kind of makes me wonder, is there opportunity for doing something better down the line? I'm not advocating we change this, Chief, carried on from this standpoint, but I would like some consideration be given to that in the future.
So from a purchasing standpoint, what we did with this one, we did look to see what vendors had cooperative contracts, as the chief indicated. Then we went a step further and did our own competitive process comparing the two and getting cost quotes from both of them to be able to compare. So we did take this a step further with not just choosing a cooperative contract that we can use, we did take this a step further and got competitive quotes. Because of the quantity of this, it is quite high. We did want to make sure that we are leveraging and getting the best cost.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Ashcraft?
Just to follow on, I appreciate your due diligence, but some documentation that shows that step would give me some relief, because we've been through this conversation before. And that's why I was asking. Maybe it was buried in here somewhere, but I just didn't see that. So thank you, Mr. Clifton.
Okay, other questions? Ms. Hanslick?
Yes, I having had to purchase AEDs for an agency in the past, I know how expensive they are. And in my experience, there are limited numbers of manufacturers, and maybe in the information requested by Commissioner Ashcraft, there could be some information just about how many providers even are available or manufacturers, because at least in my experience, there aren't a lot of them.
Okay, all right. Remain on action or consent?
What's on?
Pardon?
Oh, consent's fine.
Consent? All right, so noted. Thank you. Next item.
We can put Mr. Brown on consent as far as I'm concerned.
Item number 3, resolution number 019-19, application numbers SE-PRUR-3456 and SE-PDP-FDP-3457. Consider a request from Curtis Holland, Pulcinelli PC, applicant, and Francis and Margaret Miller, and Daniel and Amy Arthur, landowners, for rezoning from RUR, Rural District, to PRUR, Planned Rural District, and an accompanying minimum infrastructure waiver to allow 2 driveways to access an arterial road, and preliminary and final development plan, plat, approval for 2 residential lots on approximately 25 acres to be known as Miller Estates in Section 1, Township 15, Range 24, Johnson County, Kansas, located at 19620 Antioch Road.
Ms. Miller, no relation to the applicant, I assume?
No, not at all.
All right.
Thank you. Karen Miller with the Planning Department. This application is for a 2-lot plat with a rezoning from the rural to the planned rural zoning district for the purpose of bringing a 2-acre parcel and a 5-acre parcel with an existing home into compliance with the zoning regulations. The flexibility of the planned rural district is used to accommodate the 5-acre parcel while maintaining the overall density of 10+ acres. The Southeast Consolidated Zoning Board recommended approval of this application on April 3rd, and planning staff recommends approval as well. Here's the location of the plat. It's between 191st and 199th Street, fronting onto Antioch Road.
So again, this is recommended approval. All those who've considered it?
Yes.
Okay, questions?
It was unanimously approved by the
Yeah.
zoning board?
Yes, there were 4 people there. One zoning board member had to step out of the room and recuse himself because he was within the 100-foot
Okay.
area, but yes, all 3.
But apart from that, there has been no dissension.
Correct.
Thank you.
Well, this is a planning item, so it will remain on action. Are there any other items?
No, sir.
All right, we are adjourned from agenda review. Do we need to make an adjustment in our executive session? We're about 4 minutes behind. Let's see if we can complete that. So we continue in recess from our original business session. We'll go into executive session and come back for the committee of the whole in regards to transit.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Joe Waters, did you get one?
being here. Hey, stranger. How are you? The record will reflect that at approximately 11:05 a.m., we reconvened into open session, no action required, so we are adjourned, and as soon as we get things organized, we'll begin our committee of the whole. Thank you all very much. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ready? Good morning. At this time, we'll call to order the Committee of the Whole meeting for the purpose of receiving information on transit. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Fast.
Here.
Commissioner Allen. Here. Commissioner Klicka.
Here.
Commissioner Hanslick.
Here.
Commissioner Ashcraft.
Here.
Commissioner Brown.
He's in the building.
And Chairman Eilert.
Here. We do have a quorum present. Josh, this is informational only this morning, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll turn the meeting over to you.
Chairman, Commissioners, good morning. This Committee of the Whole is for the purpose of updating you on some recently expanded service, as well as bringing you up to speed on the initial results of our microtransit pilot that has been in operation since early this year. Joining me at the table are Jameson Otten, he's the Senior Vice President of Operations for the KCATA, Lisa Womack, who is the Regional Mobility Manager, Chuck Ferguson, who is Vice President of Planning and Marketing and Customer Service. In the audience is Don Boland and Sean Straight, two people who are very critical to our success in transit in the county. So the agenda today.
Hold the microphones as close to your, as
Yes,
you
sir.
can. Yeah, thank you.
Apologies for that. Again, we're going to go over some service that has been expanded since 2016, and then get into the microtransit piece. You'll notice on the first two bullets there for 401 Metcalf service and the 75th Street route, there are two dates. That second date in 2018 is related to evening service, which wasn't expanded again until 2018. So I'm going to step through each of these briefly. Please let me know if you have any questions. So on the Metcalf Plaza route, we did expand this in May of 2016 by adding additional frequency and alternating trips to Johnson County Community College and the Prairie Fire development. Since that expansion in May of 16, ridership on the Metcalf route has increased by 6%, or an additional 3,050 rides on an annual basis. We did 54,000 rides in 2018, and the Q1 or quarter one ridership in 2019 is down 7%, or 726 riders over Q1 of 2018.
What's the daily ridership?
The daily ridership on Metcalf is 21.6, oh, excuse me, that's the evening. It's approaching, Sean?
It's about 210 or so a day, somewhere in that range. Q1 means first quarter.
Yes, sir.
210 per day?
And when you say 210, is that
That's
one
105.
person, 105 people
That's
went one way
105 people.
and came back? Okay,
Yeah.
just want clarification. Thank you.
Or it's one person that got on and off a bunch of times.
Yeah, well, there's that.
Okay. go
We
ahead,
like that
continue.
person. So as I mentioned there at the beginning, on the evening service, we expanded in two phases. The first was 2 additional trips after 6 p.m. in July of 18, and then again in October of 18, for a total of 4 additional evening trips running to roughly 10:30. Some go a little bit later. Since that addition of the second of the 4 additional trips, ridership on the evening portion of the Metcalf service has increased by 55%, or 163 rides per month. That's an average daily ridership increase of 59%, or 8 additional riders on.
How many?
8 on each run, only on the evening period.
Okay.
So,
Josh, you're
again,
going to
back-
have to help us from this standpoint. In some cases in your report, you've got monthly, sometimes annual. Let's stick to daily average ridership. And the next question is, the evening, is that included into the plaza or the other one, 401? The 54, 40, or I should say the 210 per day,
Yes, that's total.
that includes the evening.
It does.
So you're just breaking it out to show what
Correct.
the difference is. And what is the daily ridership now on the evening?
On the evening,
Out of the 210?
22.
22?
Yes, sir.
So you're saying during the day, then it's 190 or 188, something like that?
That's correct.
And again, backing up, there's how many trips in the evening supporting those 22 riders?
4.
4. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yes. So moving on to the 75th Street route, it also was expanded. This is just the daytime service right now. In May of 2016, we added additional frequency to match the frequency on Metcalf. Again, that's a method of making the system more streamlined and coordinated. 30-minute peak service in the AM and PM peaks, and 60-minute service in the midday. Since that expansion in May of 16, the ridership has increased by 7%, or 2,600 rides on an annual basis, for a total of about 38,000 rides in 2018. The quarter one 2019 ridership is up 11%, or 643 riders over first quarter 2018.
Daily.
So the numbers you just offered, Josh, how do I relate those to the graph on?
So you can see there, let me back up, on 75th Street, that gray line, which hopefully you can see between 16 and 17, that indicates when we expanded. And so going back to 13, you can see the trend line from 2013 to 2018. So from the expansion, you can see that we got up, we continued to go up and then saw a slight decrease there from maybe mid-2017 or first quarter 2017 to 2018.
Okay, but how does that relate to the figures that you cited when you pulled this graph first up?
So what I was saying was that Q1 19 is up 11% over Q1 18. So we're seeing in that first part of this year an increase.
Okay, so the quarterly numbers are not reflected here.
That's correct. I'm sorry, it doesn't go to 2019 on the graph.
Okay.
So the daily ridership on this route is?
160.
Pardon?
160, sir.
And this isn't our micro transit, this is all
No.
our regular transit.
our fixed routes.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I'm just like getting confused here.
That's okay. I apologize if I wasn't clear.
Okay.
So on the evening service, we did the same thing, the 2 phases of adding 2 additional trips, first in July and then another 2 in October. And since that The second of those 4 trips were added. Ridership on the 75th Street route has increased by 2%, or an average increase of 9 riders a day. You can see that these are monthly ridership numbers. So in March, ending March 31st, we were doing roughly 400 a month on the 75th Street evening service portion. That would be an average daily ridership just on the evening portion of approximately 19 riders on those 4 routes after 6 p.m.
So are you tracking ridership increases? I just didn't see that in the material, because from an unsophisticated perspective, it doesn't sound like that much of an increase. So maybe that's the conclusion you're coming to, I don't know, but I'm just having a hard time when you say 9 riders per day, but then the graph I'm looking at says 399, looks like a substantial increase over 300 from month to month.
Yeah, and those are month-to-month numbers, and I do apologize. Sometimes it's difficult to split this baby in every way, whether it's daily riders, average daily ridership, monthly or annually, especially when you look at when things were expanded. So if we don't have a full year of data, sometimes we have to show it by month. But yes, I would agree with your conclusion, Commissioner, that a 2% increase is not a lot. 9 people a day is not a lot. But I would also point out that across the nation, we're seeing huge losses on transit ridership. ATA is down, I believe, about 7%. So for us to remain flat or add riders, I think is a positive.
Okay.
Not as positive as we would like, but.
Fair perspective.
Mr. Allen.
Just real quickly to back up Josh's statement, I think that's in the context of the transit world today and what's going on nationally and in the rest of their system. These incremental increases for Johnson County are encouraging. And a lot of it may be, and it'll come up, the microtransit actually has helped, they believe, the ridership overall. So the tailwind for transit nationally is not very good right now.
Is your microphone on, Mr. Allen?
Sorry. But anyway, I just keep those numbers in context is we're doing better than most other transit systems around the Johnson County part.
Josh, is there any effort to identify where these riders come from? I mean, 19 riders on 4 different routes or 4 different times. That's 4 or 5 riders. Are they coming from Johnson County, or are they coming elsewhere for jobs? Or, you know, some of the feedback I've had from businesses, we really need these evening routes to support employees coming to work. Do we know where? It seemed to me like it wouldn't be too hard to interview 5 people or what have you, 20 people to see where they come from.
9.
So
9.
It actually is a difficult thing to track on fixed route. We are at the beginning stage of being able to collect that data better. You may recall that I have mentioned before to the board that we have begun the process of installing what we call automatic people counters, which it's a laser beam that you can't see, and when you get on or get off, it sends up a GPS coordinate, and that way we can track where people are getting on and getting off.
Okay.
Historically, we haven't been able to do that, so on occasion, Sean will go out and spend a day riding and tallying riders, tracking where they get on and off. But we don't have that personal data to say, oh, I'm riding this to get to my job, or I'm riding this to get to the library, or whatever. Microtransit will afford us that ability to capture that data.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
So moving on, we added a brand-new route in 2016, in May of 2016, on the 95th Street corridor. Initially, it was Oak Park Mall to 75th and Warnell, but in 2017, we expanded that to Lenexa City Center. So since that expansion in 2016 to the City Center, ridership has increased 25%, or 2,100 riders annually. Again, the Q1 2019 ridership is up 2%, or 50 riders over that 3-month period when compared to 2018.
Again, I'm trying to keep these numbers all consistent. What are we talking about for a daily ridership?
40 average daily, 3 round trips in the morning, 3 round trips in the afternoon.
80?
40 daily.
Okay, 20, 20.
And then 3 round trips.
Thank you.
And 3 round trips morning.
Great.
Yeah.
So you may recall the taxi voucher pilot, which began in May of 2016, And then roughly a year later, in February of 17, we started the Freedom on Demand pilot. The taxi voucher program was rolled into Freedom on Demand in September of 2018. So what the graph is showing you here, in blue is taxi voucher, in orange is Freedom on Demand. So in 2016, we had if you recall, the pilot only existed in the northeasternmost portion of the county, so Prairie Village, Mission, Westwood. We did just under 1,000 rides in that pilot period, which was 6 months in 2016. In 2017, you can see that it expanded exponentially, just under 7,000 rides, at the same time that the Freedom on Demand pilot was kicking off. So those two programs were merged, and in 2018, we did just under 12,000 rides on the combined system. In Q1 of 2019, those Freedom on Demand rides have increased by 4,700 trips at a cost per trip of $16.85, which is a huge reduction from some of the paratransit trips that were merged onto Freedom on Demand. So at that rate, we would be looking to do approximately 18,000 rides this year if that trend holds.
How much of a reduction?
In price?
Yeah, you said huge.
Well, it's not a one-to-one because not all of the trips on Freedom on Demand are paratransit trips.
Give me an order of magnitude.
Yeah, typically, if we're providing paratransit trips on cutaway vehicles, which this was an effort to move away from, that's typically in the $35 to $40 range.
Okay, huge is a good number,
Yeah.
a good word then.
At least 50%.
Yeah.
So you'll all be more recently familiar with the 595 Gardner Overland Park Express. We expanded this in April of 2018 by adding 6 additional AM trips and 7 additional PM trips. This was an effort to connect employees to jobs at the intermodal facility. These connections are coming out of Kansas City, Kansas at 7th and Minnesota, and Kansas City, Missouri at 10th and Maine. So this route, you can see the little line there in April, that's the expansion. Prior to that, this route was functioning as commuter service, so taking people from the county to downtown. The piece that we added was taking people from downtown in the AM and PM peaks back to intermodal to access jobs. So what this graph is showing is we saw an initial bump, but as the months have gone on, because we are just now at a year's worth of service, we've lost that additional ridership that we picked up. We're now back to basically just a little bit more than we started. What the graph doesn't show is Q1 of 2019, which over the course of those 3 months, January, February, March, we've done 6,700 rides on this route on the reverse commute piece, or excuse me, on the complete ride, reverse commute and commute. And that's 3% higher than the first quarter of 2018. But what that's really showing us and telling us is that ridership on the commuter portion from the county to downtown is growing, and the ridership on the reverse commute is pretty stagnant, and it's pretty low. We understand that that's not good enough, and it doesn't meet what our initial goal was, which was a ridership of 200 a day on the reverse commute piece. We're doing about 100 a day on that piece, so not close to what we want to get to. We're in talks with the City of Edgerton, the City of Gardner. City of Edgerton is very interested in the possibility of doing a mobility hub, so that if we could partner with them, they could help us pay for a mobility hub. We could actually shorten the express part of the reverse commute and possibly do a microtransit piece on that end. That might engender some partnerships with local employers if they can help us pay for this service. But the takeaway really from the ridership on the expanded reverse commute portion is that it's underperforming. And if the steps that I've just outlined don't affect ridership positively, it's not only possible, but it's probable that that piece would either be reduced or go away completely.
All right, well, back up, help me understand. You say there's a heavier volume going to the job, but less coming back.
So let me clarify. I apologize for not being more clear. This route existed prior to adding the reverse commute piece. So it's been a long-term route that we're taking folks from the county to the urban core. What we added were additional trips taking people from the urban core to LPKC. That piece is the piece that is not growing.
I see, okay.
Mr. Chairman, I had the same confusion as you, because it seemed like what he was saying is people were going to work, but they were never coming home, or some significant percent. That's not what you're saying.
No, sir.
Okay.
I'm saying that the existing ridership, that the existing route is performing well, but the piece that we expanded in April of 18 it's carrying some people, just not a lot of people.
Yeah. Okay. Ms. Hansley.
Being one of the newer commissioners, I'm going to ask some questions that I'm not necessarily expecting answers at this meeting, but maybe some food for thought. Because I've been somewhat confused about what do we have a transit plan with goals and objectives that this commission has agreed on? Because I feel like there are lots of different goals and objectives, and I'm trying to get my head around what do we expect our transit system to do, and who are we trying to serve, and what are the outcomes, to borrow a phrase from Commissioner Ashcraft, that we are hoping to see. From my perspective, I don't think there's a way to cover the entire county with public transit at this time. So are we focusing on working people? Are we focusing on vulnerable populations like people who have disabilities, aging populations? What has been the history of that? And from my perspective, how do we focus in on what we can and should be doing? Because it feels almost like a scattershot approach. So I asked that question, and again, if...
Well, I think the goal has been to identify routes that can be supported by businesses and jobs, or in the case of the community college, student transit, and then in the case of City Center in Lenexa, again, jobs and mobility, and then the routes going south to Gardner-Edgerton, again, supporting those job efforts. So that's one goal, and I think the other part of that is that we're not saying we're going to be there forever, but it depends upon the type of ridership or the amount of ridership that we receive to make adjustments in routes, which we have done. And then the second part is, again, addressing methods of transit that weren't available, let's say 2 or 3 years ago, i.e. the micro-transit program, again, to save dollars, but being more accessible to more people. And then I think we still have the program which addresses the more vulnerable population, where I still see a bus come to a house on 87th Street specifically to pick up that individual. So those are kind of the components, if you will, of the goals that we're trying to meet.
Mr. Chairman.
I'm sorry.
Well,
Go ahead and
and I
continue.
appreciate that. I just wonder if there might be an opportunity for us to have a discussion about that, because for me, from my perspective, I'm looking a lot at our, as we just heard about, our growing aging population who are going to have increased transit needs, our vulnerable populations, that's one of our priorities in our 2019 Commission priority list. And for example, and Josh and I have talked about this a lot, and I recently met with Robbie Mackinnon and talked about this too. For years, I have been, excuse me, begging for a bus route on 87th Street because there are a lot of vulnerable populations served on that route, and there's never been any response to that. So I'm just asking if there could be more conversations about what are our goals with the transit plan.
Mr. Chairman.
The only response I would have is that I think the micro-transit program and aspects thereof is probably the best answer to those vulnerable populations. I don't live that far off of 87th Street, neither do you, And I see, I mean, the number of, on our traditional bigger buses, those numbers just aren't there to support the cost. And so I think that's why I see potential of the microtransit program or a variation thereof addressing that particular population. Mr. Clicker?
Josh, I'm going to hit some tough numbers here, just for conversation here. What's the operating budget for transit right now on an annual basis? About $7 to $10 million?
A little less, but 7.
About $7 million.
Total.
Total on an annual, well, it doesn't include capital.
For Johnson County dollars.
Johnson County dollars.
And it doesn't include capital cost. We're talking about the operating with First Transit and whoever else we use. The second thing is, if we were to take a look at our daily ridership for the whole system and take out microtransit right now, we're talking what, 5 to 1,000 people a day?
About 2,000.
About 2,000 people a day. So if I were to take that, and I'm doing real broad, very simple, I take a $7 million budget, tie it to maybe 1,000 or 2,000 people. Essentially, I'm subsidizing those individuals to the tune of thousands of dollars each in order to get them transportation. And we're talking about big dollars. We're talking about $5 to $8 million apiece. So as I'm just doing some quick math. The point I'm making here is by dealing with the fixed route, no one's been a stronger advocate of public transportation in this county than I have. I have put how many years into public transportation here? 20 years? 20 years, and have been a strong advocate. But what we keep on doing is trying to design a system that is traditional transit. But yet we don't have a traditional community here. It's a newer community versus everywhere else in the country. We were founded with the automobile here. Yeah, there were streetcars way back when we were rural time, but we were founded with automobiles here. And people, when you go to the schools and you take a look at the high schools, how many cars are parked around there, and they represent every kid in school. We haven't been able to transform the population or tried to educate them to the extent that maybe we should. Try to conserve the automobile and put it aside a little bit more. However, the new concepts coming forward is the microtransit, the Ubers. How many of us around the Horseshoe here use Uber when we go out of town because it's easier to do? We have to transform transit to the way our folks want to use it. We've had substantial success in the mental health side of it when we started putting job access vans on the road, and I think the ridership is almost close to what we're providing on the Joe, or on our transit here from the county. So I guess my sense of urgency is get rid of the darn fixed routes, get the microtransit working all through this county, find the different partnerships. You've proven in the slides to come, we've taken our cost per rider from $162 when we started microtransit. In 3 months, it's already come down to $20. What we've got to do is stop throwing good money after bad, and we've got to promote public transit, but we've got to do it through this other way. And that's going to take care of the folks that have special needs for whatever it may be, but it's also going to take care of the folks that don't need transit but want to take it and have that flexibility. So I guess that's the point. And Mr. Chairman, you and I have been around the block how many times on this transit issue? But the one thing that, I'm a strong advocate of transit, but we got to do it better and stop throwing good money after bad. That's it. Sorry.
Okay. Well, let me go back to your math. My Apple math says it's about $350 a rider on the $7 million question, which is still a significant amount of money. I'm not disagreeing with that at all, but yes.
Commissioner Hanslick, to your question, I commend you for the question, and I don't disagree with either of these gentlemen, but let me offer this perspective. A number of years ago, Mr. Chairman, if you'll allow me, we had a lot of discussion about the big box bus approach, and our system was basically bankrupt. We were projecting almost immediate, I think it was within 5 years, bankruptcy. What we were doing did not work, and we were a little rock and roll there. We were faced with basically walking away from the system or huge increases, and so we decided to try something different, and in that we opted to partner with KCATA, and I think both implicitly and explicitly, as both of these gentlemen are pointing out, the charge was do something different in terms of transportation services, and for some of us, maybe all of us, a driver there was to show the return on investment. And the KCATA staff and others have come up with different options, some more successful than others. This is the result of, I'll say your latest, but one of their latest to give us an update to try to convince us that we should pursue this or not pursue it and consider other options, as Mr. Klicka and both the chair have pointed out. To your point, though, there have been discussions with that charge, but I would argue it is muddled because there are economic development interests, there are vulnerable population service interests, and there is the debate between how do we improve transportation services, and should that include the bus or not? And that's the basic question.
And I appreciate that, and I'm not arguing for a particular kind of service. What has been confusing to me is what is the goal, because we can't be everything to everyone. So what are our priorities, and has there ever been a conversation about that to say here are the priorities for transit, and then to look at how to do that, how to, this is our priority to meet these needs. And in fact, as the liaison to the Commission on Aging, one of the questions we've discussed is transit for older folks, and I know we'll hear the success of the microtransit pilot, but there's been concern, well, a lot of older folks don't use an app, or they would be confused by that, so could there be other options? So I'm asking if there's been a conversation. I'm not necessarily saying I have the answer, but I would like to know what the priorities are.
I think conversation has occurred every time we do the budget. Exactly, what our objective is approving funding for transit, and how we improve the performance or deliver services. And again, that I think occurs every time we go through the budget. My apologies to Commissioner Klicka. I was off 1 decimal point.
Yeah,
it is
thank you.
3,500, not 350. So.
I thought you were the mathematician. Mr. Chairman, in response to Commissioner Haslund.
Blame it on Steve Jobs.
Yeah, and Commissioner, I think a number of years ago, this commission did make a commitment to public transit. So that's in place. I don't see us wavering that much from that position. The question is, and the challenge that we put to ATA as well as our own staff, is how can we get, what should I say, the return on the investment in the best way possible. And our return on investment is ridership. It's not necessarily dollars, it's the ridership.
No, it's dollars.
And which equates into the dollars, because it means we're providing a more cost-effective service. So the challenge that I've been trying to carry forward is that we need to move on that a lot faster, to evaluate those things and not drag our feet and make the adjustments quicker than what we are, recognizing the community that we live in. Now, Josh and his team and ATA have basically gone through some testing right now of microtransit. My frustration has been it hadn't come as quick as it should have. So we're already 2 or 3 years later down the line in this whole testing process when we could be almost over this issue already. And because Josh's numbers for the first 3 months right now are showing a vast improvement. It's kind of leveling off right now. But my argument is we ought to just open up this type of transit system to the whole county. It would take care of our ADA issues. We would not have that battle because we're doing transit on demand. And it's going to deal with all the different types of demographics of our community, whether it's job, elderly, or whatever. And we're going to have to make some concessions here for those folks that may not be able to use an app, or we may have to have some accommodations along the way. And how to provide the service, we can contact, whether it's taxi cabs, Uber, or whatever types of models you want to use, and multiple models could actually achieve this goal. And I think our cost per passenger would be substantially less and allow us then to even provide even more service.
Okay,
So that's the argument.
Okay, Mr. Brown.
Thank you, Chairman. So I can figure out the math because the numbers keep moving around. We said it's about $7 million. How many riders are in that $7 million? Not trip, riders. How many people are in that?
So the way that you track it is you could say riders, you could say trips, but 548,000 in 2018. So our total budget is more than the ad valorem, and the ad valorem gets split in a number of different ways. It pays for some operating, it pays for infrastructure, it pays for whatever we can legally or put it to based on a program requirement. Mm-hmm. The thing that I would say is, Commissioner Click is absolutely right. We've got service that doesn't make sense to do, but that we track by route how much it costs per rider every time they get on. And the majority of our routes are under $10 per person to provide that trip. There are other routes that are less effective that we know need addressing, and that's what we've done through the COA, the Comprehensive Operations Analysis. We've already eliminated one route and cut back on others, and we'll be doing that additionally as we go into phase 2 of that. But it's a little more nuanced than taking 7 million divided by the people who ride. That's not a bad way to look at it because it's a difficult subject to get your head around, but I can provide for you on a weekly, daily, monthly basis, annual basis, for every route, how much it costs every single time someone gets on and takes a one-way trip. And so I'm happy to give that to you in any way you'd like that information. Some of it's ugly, some of it's not as ugly as it might seem at first. But I do think that as we move down this path for microtransit, it's going to be a game changer. But I do believe that we have routes that cannot be replaced by microtransit. We've got some that can, but we've got some that cannot, just because of the capacity of moving 40 people at a time versus moving 6 people at a time. So I think Commissioner Klicka, Commissioner Ashcraft are absolutely correct. We got to reimagine the way that we've done this. And as you mentioned, Commissioner Klicka, in very short order, 12 weeks of service, we've kind of seen the light. We haven't had the technology to provide microtransit really for more than a year and a half or so since ATA tried it with Bridge, and as we know, that was not a success, but it did provide some important lessons learned.
Josh, I think if you could provide that information to us as we go through the budget process.
Yes, sir.
That could be helpful.
Yes, please, absolutely. And then I just have one more comment. I've been supportive of the Gardner 595. When I was originally supportive of it, I made the point that as long as it makes sense, as long as it is beneficial, as long as it is used, as long as there is a cost-benefit analysis in there that says this is good use of taxpayer dollars to subsidize this route, I'm struggling with that right here.
Yes, sir.
And I have had the conversation with both mayors, both Gardner and Edgerton, on this topic, and have made them aware that my support for that route is waning. And I have one more question. Have we picked up any corporate sponsorship support from Gardner or Edgerton on the end of that route?
We have not, sir.
Great question.
Thank you.
Great question.
Ms. Hanslick, did you have a question or comment?
No, not at this time, thank you.
All right. Well, I don't know that we've solved the problem for you, Josh, but a lot of discussion, that's good, so continue.
Yes, sir. So to get into this microtransit piece, you may recall this slide, maybe not. You guys see a lot of information, but this was presented to the board back in July of 2018 as we were talking about the comprehensive operations analysis and some of the plans that we had for alternate service delivery. And so that square at the top there with the green dots, that's where we thought we would implement a service area. And again, you see at the bottom there, the goal of moving into this microtransit pilot was to complement fixed routes and reduce reliance on big bus service. So that's exactly what we did beginning in January of this year. You can see on the map there, that's the service area. It's Shawnee Mission Parkway on the north, 119th Street on the south, Metcalf on the east, and Renner on the west. We've got 2 carve-outs on the south there for the KU Edwards campus, and then on the northeast corner for the Mission Transit Center. So this service operates 14 hours a day from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Monday through Friday. It's $1.50 each way. Again, that's an introductory rate that we know is going to have to be adjudicated. You can pay by credit card or cash. It is app-based. It's to Commissioner Hanslick's point about folks who may be less comfortable with technology, but you can also call a call center and book a trip that way. In this initial period, we are running 3 specially branded Ford Transit vehicles. These are 12-passenger vans. They're ADA compliant, so they can carry wheelchairs. We have a 4th vehicle that is for overflow purposes, but typically it's not out operating along with the other 3. Briefly step through some marketing. We, as you've heard before, we hit the online and social media very hard. We also did print and print advertising, and then tried to work with our television partners to get interviews and promote the service. It was very important to get out into the community. We visited 74 unique businesses, apartments, churches, other areas, locations to deliver over 500 flyers and collateral material. We're working with the Central Resource Library to hopefully utilize microtransits for some of their events. So again, looking for ways to coordinate and collaborate across the region. Those efforts resulted in some earned media coverage. We've been written up about in the Star and the Post, covered on KSHB Channel 41 and on the radio on KCUR. So people are taking notice. And that's really reflected, I think, in this next slide. I apologize if I'm moving fast. I'll be happy to slow down if you have a question. But this is a screenshot from the online dashboard that we use in managing the microtransit service. So you can see the pink line there. That's the service area. The green bubbles that you see are either the beginnings or endings of a completed microtransit trip. But all those little gray dots are areas in which someone has pulled the app up on their phone and didn't book a trip. So you could see that as far as DeSoto, Raytown, Grandview, they're aware of it, which tells us that A, there's latent demand that if we continue to work hard and market it, we can pick up more ridership, but also that the marketing that we've done has been effective.
So Josh, on
Yes,
the
sir.
last slide, what do you attribute the virtually solid gray line on I-35 from downtown into the box and then somewhat beyond?
It could be a number of
On the
things.
buses or on transit?
It could be on the buses, and we hope that people who are utilizing the service, they can book their trip on fixed route and then have the vehicle waiting there when they get to their location. Similarly, it can be people who are on microtransit who are tracking the ride or checking it out.
Gotcha.
We can't really tell why. The reason is we just know that they opened it.
Gotcha.
All right.
So to the piece that most interests everyone, I think, in the room, this is the trend line for the ridership. You can see we operated for a total of 8 days in January, and that was basically a soft open. We didn't market it. We weren't telling people about it. Wanted to make sure the kinks were worked out. So we did 101 rides in those 8 days, and then February 1st, we turned on the public-facing marketing. You can see the increase in ridership. This chart really only shows through April 29th of ridership, and those are monthly numbers associated with the months there. But as of 7 p.m. last night, we have provided rides to 5,274 persons. So we're very pleased with that. We think that as I said with the previous slide, there's a lot of latent demand that if we're able to continue this pilot, we think we'll be able to increase that number.
Josh,
Yes, sir.
could you shift the numbers to an average daily ridership versus monthly ridership? I realize that it may produce a smaller number to look at. It's not as
sure.
as flashy. But I think it's just like, as you saw through the past conversation here, trying to keep track of numbers from monthly to annual to daily. Let's utilize daily ridership as a constant, so we're apples and apples.
Sure. So on an average basis, we're doing between 70 and 80 rides a day. The peak has been 108, and that's important because we have a break-even number. And that number is different for every route that we compare it to. So we know that if we add 22 riders to this existing number, we will be as effective as some of our less effective public transit.
And I think to the commissioners and to those in the audience here need to understand when we're talking about 100 riders a day, the service is going to cover 100. It's not going to be a service that's open for 5,000 people a day. The level of service we put out is going to reflect the demand.
Agreed.
So that's a real difference.
And it's 3 vehicles, 3 12-passenger vehicles out there compared to 40-foot buses. And so it again underscores your point. So as far as where people are going and traveling, our top 5 origins and/or destinations are before you. The community college was a early adopter. They were very excited about this and wanted to buy in. They helped us market it very strongly. They're providing a lot of rides for their students via the microtransit. There is a particular apartment complex at West 64th Terrace and Neiman Road that has adopted this and is using it on a regular basis. The last 3 are kind of what you would expect, but I think they're good signs. Oak Park Mall, which is a transit node for us, Mission Transit Center, which is hugely important as far as our regional connections, and then the Central Resource Library. Obviously, anything that we can do to get a wide range of people to our existing departments and services is a benefit. Just want to point out the legend there at the bottom. The colors correspond to the level of ridership, so blue is the lowest, red is the highest. The numbers are there correspondingly. So when we've done a lot of data collection and survey analysis throughout the pilot, and the reason that people are riding when we ask them are the 5 before you, and they're what you'd expect. Employment, school, to get around, to take entertainment and to go shopping, to get to medical appointments. But the last one there, that connection to fixed route transit for us is very important because that's going to influence how we look at the fare policy. We know that the existing fare of $1.50 is not sustainable. It's too low. That's a very cheap cost to access a premium service. So I'm going to get into that a little deeper here in a moment. But again, Commissioner Klicka had referenced our cost per rider. You can see here the costs and the revenues for the first 3 months, which is, we don't have April back yet, and we will add that soon. But as the commissioner alluded to, as the ridership has gone up, the cost per rider has dropped dramatically. I expect that once we get the April numbers in, we will be under $20. The lower we get that, the more comparable it is to the costs for fixed route transit, and the more applicable it is to supplanting portions of our fixed route service. So as we consider what we've seen in this very short introductory period and going forward, we have to make sure that the service is attractive to people, that we are controlling the geographic distance because we don't want to offer a 50-mile round trip ride for $1.50 or $3 each way, or there and back, if you will. We need to make sure that the dispatching and scheduling is sensitive to time. Our average that we're shooting for is a 15-minute response time. As the demand goes up, that time is impacted, and until we add vehicles, where there will be a threshold we get to where we can't provide a responsive service. We're not there yet. That fare policy piece is the part that I've alluded to a couple times. Currently, our thinking is this. We believe that we could keep the $1.50 fare if people are using it to connect to fixed route transit. That is, with a transfer, if you take the bus and then you use microtransit to get to your final destination, or you take microtransit to get to Mission Transit Center, that entire trip is $1.50. If you want to use it as a point-to-point, more like an Uber type of service, it's going to be more. How much more, we're not certain yet, $3, $4, $5, probably in that range. We'll be doing additional surveying and seeing what the tolerance is for people, when they would say it's too expensive for them to use.
Why would we not use more of a zone fare? And it seems like, we do it when we have classifications for commuter and paratransit and different things like this. why don't we at least try to cover the cost of the distance that these vehicles are running and follow a similar model that's being done with Lyft and Uber?
So there are two reasons for that, Commissioner, and certainly not off the table. We can consider doing that. On the lowest threshold, that makes it confusing, and people are telling us, we really like this because I don't have to calculate what it's going to be where I go. Now, that's certainly preferable for a low cost for the customer, but the other reason is we have Freedom on Demand, which does have that geographic pricing component to it. We don't want to compete with the service that we're already providing. So we want to have this as a piece of a spectrum where if you start on the lowest end, it's that bus fixed route service, and it gets more premium as you go up to Freedom on Demand. So we're trying to figure out where that price point is appropriate. It may come down to the fact that maybe zoned pricing is appropriate. I don't know, Jameson or Lisa, if you have a thought on that at this point, but really the customer preference has been, and we've heard it for a long time, the zone pricing is confusing for me, and it's a barrier for me to access the system.
Okay.
So some future considerations, this is, I think, very exciting. As soon as we started this service, we started getting contacts from folks who, of course, want to see this service available to them in different areas. City Center, City of Lenexa said, hey, we're right on the westernmost boundary, but you're missing us. You could pick up a lot of apartment, retail jobs, so that's an area of interest. Our own Department of Health and Environment has a built-in client base, if you will, and they are subsidizing trips through Uber. We think we can provide those same trips at a lower price point, and they're getting some grant funding to do that. So we're talking with them about possible coordination there. Children's Mercy South has reached out and wanted to talk about how we could get people from the existing service area out to their location. Again, made it clear to them there's a cost that comes with that, but if we can partner with them, that's good news. And perhaps most recently or most impactfully, Overland Park has reached out and really wanted to talk about Saturday service focused on their farmers market. Commissioner Hanslick and I were at a meeting of the Community Development Committee at the city, and they are very interested in partnering with on this point, to the point where they have asked us to develop some initial costs. Obviously, that's going to come back before this body and make sure that you're completely informed, but our initial back-of-the-napkin analysis is that it's going to be somewhere between $50,000 and $60,000, and they're okay with that. So again, this is initial conversations. They have to go back, of course, to their city council, but they're very interested in getting something started soon because the farmers market season has begun. So I think that these kinds of conversations are a very good sign. Certainly, we won't know until they pan out and we partner with folks, but there's interest there to expand this program. So a couple last final slides here as far as next steps. As far as microtransit, we need to be able to communicate to this body, what does success look like? How much should we subsidize a trip? What should the fare be? What's the appropriate level of ridership, and how can we demonstrate, compared with our existing fixed route service, that it's a better return on investment? Again, the efficiency and effectiveness. Is it continuing to be developed or deployed in a way that is attractive to riders? The revenue generation, if we can establish actual revenue coming from partners, again, that's another bulwark for this program. So we will be coming back to this board with a formal recommendation. You did authorize last year a 6-month pilot period. We're basically at the halfway point, just over 3 months of time. So before the pilot period ends, we'll come back and ask you. I would assume at the very least we'll be asking to continue the status quo. Currently, and again, this is only with 2 months of data, full month data, February and March, we are running under budget. So we're averaging about $33,000 a month to do this. You budgeted or allowed us to use $250,000 of transit reserves. What that looks like is we'd be coming in, if trends hold, at about $220,000 for a 6-month period. So if we're able to perhaps do some expansion around the edges with those savings, that's something that we would want to have this body consider.
Mr. Klicka, you have a question?
Josh, I hope what you're going to come back with is not just status quo. I'm hoping that what you're going to come back with is expansion of the boundaries on this and start pushing it. And at the same time, conversely, being able to say what may be more cost-effective, more costly services may go away.
Yes, sir. And we just don't want to get ahead of the board. We want to hear from your perspective today about what we should be bringing back to you. So yes, we'll have a range of options.
Specifically, I assume this information will be with us, provided before we make final decisions on the 2020 budget?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Ashcraft, did you have?
Mr. Chairman, yeah, and maybe at that point, if not before, we can maybe frame our priorities and goals that Ms. Hanslick was asking about. I don't know if Mr. Powers can do that, but maybe, and I'm not sure whose portfolio it's in. Okay, Mr. Connor could help us a little bit, because I sense we were not necessarily disagreeing, Mr. Chairman, but maybe had a little bit different take on our goals and strategies, and it might be helpful for all of us.
Well, that's fine. There is.
I would appreciate that.
I would call specific, 4 or 5 specific areas that we've always looked at. And so, no problem reviewing all that again. Anything else, Josh? You got
Yes, just
another one?
lastly, that we want to remind the board that we continue to work on the comprehensive operations analysis, and we'll have a phase 2 that we'll be looking at in Q4 of 2019, and that the ATA is spending all of 2019 on a system redesign, and they're looking at exactly questions like this: can microtransit fill in regionally? So really, what the results of what we're seeing in our microtransit pilot are going to inform some of the things that will be happening regionally, which we're very excited about.
Maybe we can add to the lead to ATA and some of the changes they're looking at by getting a head start on this stuff.
Yes, sir.
Other members from ATA who are here today, you've been fairly silent. Any comments you would like to make?
I'll make one. I think Commissioner Clicker, you were with us when we did the bridge pilot, and I think in a year we did about 1,200 trips. So the joke for me in the industry is that Johnson County not only had the courage to do that project again, but got a year's worth of bridge trips in about a month and a half. There are quite a few stakeholder groups that are asking about this program across the country. We'll be shifting that information over to Josh so that he can tell the story on what's going on here. There's a lot of interest. I agree that, looking at a complete system with different pieces, different ways of moving people is critical, and Johnson County is certainly taking the lead on being customer focused, and that's why I think this program is working so well. The marketing program that was done here is outstanding. It is a complete 180 from what we did with Bridge. I think Chuck would agree. People here know what the service is, know what it's for, and know how to use it. So we'll continue to work with Josh and with the county to look at this service, look at how it can be expanded, and also look at how there can be other revenue sources applied to it. There's a really good example that was referenced here today with, I think it's the Department of Health, working along with insurance companies to get people to follow-up visits and receiving revenue based on that, because that brings the overall cost of healthcare down. So I think this is a service where that could be applied to as well. So I just wanted to commend the county for having the courage to move forward after the very public program that we had kind of fizzled in terms of ridership. But this is an outgrowth of that initial pilot, so thank you.
Okay. Well,
Chairman.
Yes, Mr. Brown.
I'm sorry. Thank you. Can I go back just for a quick, you were moving fast, Josh, and I didn't want to break up your role, but on slide 24, I did some quick math. You said we had a 108 peak with an 80 riders average, so the delta's 28. That's about a 25% decrease from peak to average. What did we do, and that would be the collective we, what did we do, or what happened that caused 108 peak over an 80 average? Was it marketing? Was it, did we give away some rides to entice people to try it? What happened?
So we actually did obviously give away some free rides at the beginning, and it takes time for those to cycle through the system and get out. That 108 peak was last week, so I don't think it was a free ride. We don't know. I mean, after 12 weeks, I can't say definitively what the change is there. We know when the people are riding, and it is the AM and PM peaks. Now, the midday is important, but the highest ridership is at the beginning and the end of the day. Did you have?
I was going to say the peak rides coincided
kind of following a nice piece we had on television as well. So, you know, additional pop of word getting out there.
I wonder too, you know, not to be silly about it, but the weather, it has been nicer. And so people are willing to go out and do this and take a group trip to go to lunch, things like that. So there's a number of different variables, and we're trying to track and collate all of them and then analyze them and report back to you.
Thank you.
You know, I would simply say this, I would hope the board, and I know you are, at ATA, continuing to focus on alternatives to fixed routes. I think there's too many examples that that kind of public transit system will just struggle. So the implementation of alternatives to those fixed routes, I think needs to be focused on and continue to be a priority, at least for our community.
Streetcars everywhere, they seem to be increasing in ride.
I'm sorry, what?
Streetcars everywhere, they seem to be increasing in ridership.
Well, if they're free,
yeah.
I'm assuming if all of our transit alternatives were free, there'd be a bigger ridership. So, excuse me. Janae?
Well, I think you were first. I think
Go
Commissioner
ahead,
Ashcraft
go
was
ahead.
first.
You're
But
fine.
I just wanted to especially thank Josh. He's done a terrific job of thinking about all of the various stakeholders that would have need, not only interest, but need of this microtransit program. I know he's specifically met with the staff at Safe Home and has looked at how to expand ridership in especially among those vulnerable populations. And from my perspective, having worked with victims of domestic violence, transit isn't just a convenience. It could mean the difference between life and death. If you have a way to leave an abusive situation, you have a way to get a job, and you have a way to get to that job, you're going to be able to start an independent life. But if you don't, that may make you go back to that situation and lose your life. So this is, to me, a very serious issue, a very, very serious discussion. So I appreciate, Josh, all that you've done to make sure all of those folks are included and know that this opportunity is available. So thank you.
Mr. Ashcraft.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Alton, I just wanted to back up to your comment about the bridge effort being a failure. I would argue that actually it was a success because we challenged you to think differently, to give us something different, and you did that, and we learned from it, and if this is successful, great, and if it's not, it continues to build on that. So I commend you. I would encourage you to continue doing that. I would hope more technocrats would do that. I mean, it's hard sometimes because one failure by some definition can shut down creativity and innovation. And this is a tough subject because there's a lot of history. So good for you. It's not a failure. It was a success.
Thank you, Commissioner Ashcraft. It gave birth to Freedom on Demand and this program as well, so we learned quickly.
Okay. All right, well, thank you all very much. Appreciate your good work. Josh, thank you. Thank you. And no other items, we are adjourned. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
There is no rain outside, so we can enjoy Feed the Need.
Thanks for coming.
1:30 is 2:02, 2:04.
1:30, sir, you said?
1:30, 2:02, 2:04.
Thank you.
Right.
Oh, 1:30.
No, I thought I had 1:30.